or the animal, think of them as first and foremost an energy dynamo, and it's making energy. Mm-hmm. And get away from the notion of intention and rational issues such as territoriality and even survival is a rational issue.
Okay.
If you really, really think about it, you get a bunch of philosophers together with words are completely used precisely. They would show you the logical flaw with saying that's an instinct. And, you really mean a thought. You really mean a future consequence. And it's not as simple as it's being said to be. So I consider myself very rigorous with the use of words, which is why I make these distinctions. But anyway, so when you see these energy states in the dog, and you might think it's happy or this or that, but it's kind of hypermanic, well, that needs an object. And that's when you get the rage, is when it finally finds an object. But because the dog is always holding back and is hypermanic friendly all the time, which is really holding back, it's not just normal, calm, social.
Right.
The friendly isn't calm, social. It's a little too demonstrative.
Right.
And it's a good coping mechanism when you are actually socially anxious, but you don't enjoy a party or an engagement that's constantly friendly. You really want to get to a meaningful conversation and connect with someone. That's true social, calm social. So anyhow, when you see these damaged dogs, they need to find an object for that incoherent friendly energy. And when it finally crystallizes, because the dog has such a small capacity to move energy in his history or his genetics, depending on how he was bred, it'll come out as this turbulent, chaotic, hectic rage, or let's call it enraged. And that's where it moves the most amount of energy as coherently as it's ever done because it's an actual object. So the only difference between panic and that kind of manic charge aggression is one has an object and one doesn't. That's the only difference. Oh. Panic is the same amount of intense energy, but there's no object to focus toward.
Okay.
So therefore it's scared to death because it can't find any way to neutralize that degree of being energized, stimulated, knocked off balance. So all aggression is, that kind of dysfunctional aggression, is just finally it found an object that it can conduct all that energy toward. And then you'll see it's really dependent on certain parameters. They got to be in a crate. They got to have a food bowl. They got to have a bone, a resting place. There's some thing it needs. Outside of those parameters, the dog is friendly, or he does something skitsy like chase moonbeams or hypermanic in other ways. But he's just not moving energy in a really precise, object-oriented way, and that's what the serious aggression, dysfunctional problems help the dog do.
Okay.
I call it the function of dysfunction.
Oh.
Finally, he's got an object he can vent all that energy and relieve the system, and he feels as empowered as he's ever felt, as opposed to internalizing being friendly, which is enervating. It's makes you feel lack of autonomy.
Okay.
Being hyper-friendly means you feel under control. You're losing your space. You're defending your space by being hyper-friendly because you're afraid you're losing it. So the being enraged like that gives them a sense of that as close to a sense of empowerment as they've ever achieved. Therefore, they get addicted to it. Feels good. It's better than anything else they could feel. And no amount of lovey-dovey and help, so-called helping them feel safe by being this predictable, perfect owner, is going to offset that tendency, because this is the architecture of the way the animal unconscious mind works. And anything we're doing is much higher level as owners.
Okay.
At our high-level social discourse way, we're not relating to them on that deep, deep, deep level that you need to be in order to change those kinds of things.
Right.
So, that's a big takeaway. The panic is a lack of an object. Hypermanic rage is finally I got an object. To let all that stuff, all that panic come out. That's why you see dogs oscillate from those two extremes. And it seems like a Jekyll and Hyde thing. That Jekyll and Hyde.
Right.
That's where that whole Jekyll Hyde thing comes from.
Okay.
How could this super duper friendly animal now be Cujo?
Oh, because the whole time they're just holding back.
Yeah,
and
it's totally
bottling up.
consistent thermodynamically, if you will, according to thermodynamics of emotion on an architectural level of the mind. It's completely consistent. It's just that we lump friendly into pure social, and that's not true.
Right.
It's not when you're socially anxious, you're at your most friendly.
Smiling.
Smiling, laughing at jokes that really aren't that funny, telling jokes that really aren't that funny.
Right.
But everybody laughs anyhow. You can count on everybody's going to have to laugh because they're all in the same boat you're in. It's not true social. It's great. I'm not, people, when I say that, people think I'm saying there's something wrong with being friendly. It's a wonderful social emollient in strangers that don't know each other yet. So there's no bloodletting within the first half hour, right?
Right.
There's a way to cope. But if you're around somebody that's always like that, after a while they start driving you nuts.
It's tiring.
It's very tiring, and you say, "Hey, relax, come on,
Right.
chill. I mean, you're fine. You don't have to work so hard.
Right.
We actually like you." The related phenomena is someone is effusively friendly and lots of personality, and they kind of do stuff that bugs you, and you finally point it out to them, and they might get crushed.
Yes.
And they get really low, and this, and they're, in their point of view, they're having a terrible experience. But from your point of view, you're finally connecting with them.
Right.
You're finally reaching their core, and every other time you try to point out something you didn't like, they just generate more personality, and you just didn't want to press it, but finally you just couldn't take it, so you point out to them, look, you can't be like that. I really can't be around you if you're going to be like that. Everything doesn't have to be funny, or we can't always be go, and or whatever it happens to be. And then they go deep down into that space that they don't like being in. But you are actually finally there's somebody there.
Right.
Now you're saying now you're dealing with the true person, from which true social can emerge. You can have a good relationship on that basis. And it's just so amazing the different perspectives. The person that's feels crushed because their truth has been exposed.
Right.
And yet, their friend is actually feeling connected for the first time.
Yes.
So it's an amazing thing. But anyhow, that's the kind of fear we have about being open and vulnerable and true social. And personality is how we protect ourselves from that.
Okay.
And that all that hyper friendly is. But it's been, especially in dogs, it's been confused with true social.
So that's why you can see a dog who 99% of the time
Right.
is really hyper friendly.
Right.
And then all of a sudden something triggers the rage.
Right. And now he's got an object that can conduct all that stuck energy.
Okay.
All the incoherent vibratory behavior finally can come out in a laser dot focus path of expression. However, since it's not true social but load overload, it's turbulent coming out. It's not really clear. Now, if you get a dog really clear in the core exercises, then that moves all that energy, and that's the basis of true social.
Okay.
Therefore, they don't need to do the hypermanic, because true social that moves all the energy is laminar flow of emotion, smooth flow, and feels better than turbulent flow of energy, which is hectic and destabilizing. So most people, if they want to go on a canoe picnic, like the laminar river.
Right.
Some people like the whitewater kayaking, but that's adventure seeking. That's not what most people want to do when they want to go for a nice cruise down the river.
Right.
And it turns out that the deep laminar waters, like the main channel, conducts much more energy than the turbulent whitewater headwaters. There's much more energy moving. Even though the water's moving slower, the net velocity, as Adrian Bejan points out in Design of Nature, is moving the most amount of energy faster and most efficiently. So the Mississippi River is really the fastest transport. So, it's easy to understand a lumbering elephant is moving much more energy faster and more efficiently than a sprinting cheetah.
Right.
You know, he's actually transporting much more energy.
Right.
So he's much more efficient, really and truly.
Okay.
So, anyhow, that's the distinction between that incoherent friendly stuff is the animal's always seeking an object where all of it can come out one shot.
Right.
But if he doesn't have a good true social, which is made out of those 5 core behaviors, then it'll be turbulent. But because it moves so much energy, it will become addictive. It's all he knows. And he'll get addicted to those rushes.
Okay.
Even though it doesn't feel as good as the true social.
Because they need to release.
Yeah,
at
the main
some
thing
point.
is the movement of energy.
Okay.
Like there's how much energy, what direction does energy move? How much energy moved? How well did it move?
Okay.
So the Mississippi River's flowing south and it's moving really well. So that's the ultimate reinforcement. But if you don't know that and you just got the whitewater, well, a lot of energy's moving. May not be moving well.
Oh, I see.
But if it's more energy moving in the whitewater behaviors than any other way you know, that becomes your go-to behavior.
So a dog who's hyper friendly, maybe jumping up, jumping on strangers, running all around, is that turbulent river.
Yeah. Or then when he finally gets an object, well, he doesn't have an object, which is why he's so hectic.
Okay.
He's not laser focused.
Right.
So when he finally gets an object that he can laser focus and move that much energy, it'll still come out turbulent because he's not moving as well as he could be moving. He could be moving really well, but at least he's moving a lot.
Right.
Yeah. And that is going to be more energy that he's ever moved before, so that becomes success. His definition of success.
Oh, I see.
Even though it means he's going to bite somebody or get in a fight, even if it means he's going to get into a fight with a dog that he's going to always lose, he's
still attracted.
still being reinforced because he's moving more energy than he otherwise could move.
So
that's why the dogs that lose fights generally always start them in a household. A dog that always loses the fight will generally always start it.
Okay.
You know, and the dog that always wins generally goes into aloof mode and tries to, it doesn't need to win. It's because it moved more energy well than the one that moved more energy not well.
Right.
The loser. So he feels a little more whole. The other one feels more charged, incomplete. And he will need to start the fight because he's left with more junk on his side of the door than the other one.
Right.
So you see the dog that always wins will tend to be aloof and distant. And that becomes something that enrages the dog. And he starts to get their attention. He doesn't know he's doing it. But he needs to fight that other dog because it's the only time he moves a lot of energy.
Okay.
Even though he doesn't move it well, he does move a lot. And even though he loses, he can't make that computation. All he knows is he moved a lot of energy on a deep architectural level, which doesn't care about consequences. On that deepest level, it worked.
So with the 5 core exercises, we're giving the dog a different way of moving.
Yeah, we're teaching him how to move a lot of energy well.
Okay.
And you build up that experience. Now, if he's super duper damaged, he's still holding back, even in the core, which is why you'll see it'll vary a lot. So eventually you got to trigger it and then run it through the core, and then trigger it and run it through the core until you can't trigger it anymore.
Okay.
And now he can feel the distinction between turbulent, moving a lot of energy, laminar, moving a lot of energy. He says, wow, I want that. That felt so much better.
Right.
And that's true social. And that is what heals problem behaviors. When he can feel the two options.
Right.
When he's in the dark, turbulent state, and he can still feel potential for flow. Laminar, smooth flow.
Okay.
And he opts for that. Then he can opt for that.
Okay.
So I was describing Bixie had the bone. I had Pat walk up with a dog into her space. She went into super duper turbulent, really, the eyes bugged out and their fangs, and she was paralyzed. Total tetany sensations in her head and muzzle. Mm-hmm. Nobody's home. So then I beckoned to her, because I got a nice laminar flow history with her now. I had her come to me next to the dog. I could massage her neck and jowls while she had the bone in her mouth. Mm-hmm. And then I said, well, let me keep pushing the envelope. And then I didn't even ask, but I pushed on her back, her haunches, her shoulders, and she belly rolled. And she dropped the bone, and I massaged her. She put her head down and massaged her, and then the dog is 2-3 feet away looking over her. And she totally relaxed, and then I let her get up, take the bone, and go back on her way.
Okay.
So I'm teaching her how to feel flow out of the turbulent and choose flow rather than the turbulent.
And in that case, you didn't have to let the rage out. You used the massage to remind her of how good it feels to be grounded.
Right. Which is all they want.
Right.
They all they want. So that being grounded is something like an owner. That's collectivized group energy moves much more than singular energy. So synchronizing with your group, even though you may have to subordinate your hypermanic fast pace, you are in a system that's going to move much more energy. For example, the NBA got into this ESPN highlight mentality where all that mattered was a superstar doing a spectacular play. So the NBA got very heroic oriented, and you had the monster players, super talents. It's kind of the Shaq O'Neal era where he could pound the ball down as one big guy, another big guy, one spectacular guy after another spectacular guy. But the team game was suffering. And then they went over and played Olympic rules in Europe. And I think it was hosted by Italy that year. They had Tim Duncan. They had some big names, excellent NBA guys. They got creamed. They might not even have gotten a medal, or at best, bronze. That was a wake-up call to the NBA that they had devolved. And you saw these Europeans, Hungary and Yugoslavia, they're moving the ball so fast that after a while, the NBA guy, you can't react fast enough, no matter how athletically. So the physically superior players, by all means, were the NBA guys. But the movement of the ball with 5 guys in total sync, you can't beat it.
Okay.
They move much more energy in that laminar way. And so the NBA, I think just about every team has these Eastern European smooth ball handling, shooting, excellent shooters. They all have one, and the game has improved so much. It's much more fluid now. They got away from that pound and ground kind of game.
Right.
Spectacular athlete versus other spectacular athlete.
Right.
And got back into that flow model. And the same thing happened with the NHL when the Russians beat them. They were into the fights and the goon hockey.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the European rules or the world rules are about the original prototype of the game. It's all flow. They don't let you fight. They don't let you do that dumb stuff, and you're penalized. Or it's a much more flow rule setup.
Okay.
Because it's not got the commercial money-making aspect to it.
Oh.
So anyway.
So the team moves energy much more efficiently.
That ball, 5 guys in sync will move that ball at the speed of light.
Right.
One superstar guy, how fast can he move the ball? He can only go as fast as he can run.
Right.
Yeah. And so anyhow, that's that. And then you could just see that the NBA guys once you get out of sync, you're missing your shots. But the Eastern European guys, or the European players, they're shooting in rhythm, they call it.
Ah.
And your accuracy is so much better. There's just the right time to pull up and shoot.
Right.
The right time to do everything. And so when the whole team is moving that ball in sync, and then one guy's got the perfect time to shoot, and they're just so well coached, and that's the whole life they played that style. Mm-hmm. I mean, they actually played the way the Americans invented the game. Uh-huh. And the teacher got bested by the student. And it was it was actually wonderful to see, because I lost interest in the NBA. It got boring. I mean, and the rules kind of got fudged so the guy could come down and get away with so much physical contact. I don't know. It wasn't aesthetically appealing. You see the Europeans play, it was beautiful. Or the Olympic game was much more fun to watch. So now the NBA's back. They're playing this amazing. So they got the super amazing athletes playing this amazing sync game. It's just this beautiful game to watch. So they're back. It's really wonderful. So anyhow, that's a good example of how being in sync with the group is true social. and moves much more energy than this load overload hectic torrent when you finally have that object.
Okay, so you're saying the individual might have to adjust his personality
Yes.
or temperament to
Yes.
fit in with the group, but
Yeah.
ultimately that feels better.
That feels better.
Because,
And that is built into its temperament. I make the distinction. Temperament with little t,
okay.
which is your individual package, but that package is a module in temperament with a big T. So everyone has the ability to sublimate to a place that's not quite as comfortable as your default setting,
Okay.
but you can feel there's more energy over there.
Oh.
And you're willing to sublimate because you can feel the return potential is greater than what you're getting at your more comfortable setting.
Okay.
So if you're the so-called leader, the alpha, there's certain situations where if you were to flip and become omega, the whole group gets clicking.
Makes more flow.
Makes more flow, and so it's built into the temperament, little t, big T, to be able to do that, which is why if the omega challenges the alpha and wins because of he's now young and strong enough, the other one got a little old and weaker, the alpha has no problem becoming the omega,
Right.
right? Because it's built into it. And likewise, when the omega was bullying when the alpha was bullying the omega, he was also polarizing him toward the alpha.
Oh.
So they both flip at some point.
Okay.
They both flip at some point. So it's built into their temperament, little t, big T, to be able to flip polarities to fit the group mood.
So the big T is the temperament of the group?
Yes. That
Okay.
we all have. So for example, say your temperament little t is funny person, life at a party, but then you go to a wake.
Right.
And, then you should be able to flip to wallflower mode.
Right.
Yeah, you should be able to flip to, to that setting. And then you should be able to, and then maybe you go to then you do go to a party, and there's another life at a party running the table. And you should be able to say, let that person,
Right.
if you don't compete with that person. It's
Right.
not necessary.
Right.
So you should have the ability to flip
Somebody's already
polarities.
occupying
Yeah.
that role. You don't fight them for
Yeah,
it.
they have a need to be the life of the party. Good
You
for you.
just-
You can do it. I don't have to keep the party going.
Right.
So say if the party's a little dull and you are a life of the party, it's great. You could, all right, come on, pick it up. Let's go. Who wants to dance? So you can get things going.
Right.
So that's a wonderful attribute. But if there's already somebody doing it and they, maybe they're a little less secure than you are, then fine, you do it and I'll support you.
Okay.
I'll laugh at your joke or I'll play along and you don't have to outcompete them.
So if somebody's really confident in who they are, they can change.
Easily flip.
They can flip and flop
Exactly.
that personality.
Yep. Yeah. And that's true social. So
Because
whatever
it's
it
good.
takes.
It wouldn't be good for the group to have two of the
Right.
exact same personality.
Right. The example I like to give is when I was in high school, if you played football, you had to sing in a choir. And that's the only way they could get a freshman football coach because he was a music teacher.
Okay.
So he agreed to coach freshman football. But everybody in football had to sing choir. So the coach said, hey, here's the deal. We need a coach because we're a small program. All you guys got to sing choir. Okay. Now, we're all high school guys, and nobody's a true bass. We only have one or two true basses, and I'm a tenor. But we need bass guys. So they said, Kevin, you got to sing bass, which is not my comfort range.
Right.
But it made the sound of the choir better,
Okay.
and we were better as a choir, and people liked the choir. So I got a lot of gratification by singing outside my comfort range
Okay.
and trying to be a bass, get down as low as Gary McCline, creeper we called him.
Okay.
Yeah, he was a true bass. So I got into it. I tried to get low like Gary.
Mm-hmm.
And because we had enough bass guys, we put out that part of the whole chorale, and the sound was much better.
Right. Right.
Now, if I insisted on being my tenor, we would have been weaker in the bass. The choir wouldn't have sounded as good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so at that level, you got to mix them. You can't just select what you want. We had to mix to get the best blend.
Okay.
So I subordinated my default setting to complement the group as best it had to be done. And we had a ball. It was fantastic, and I didn't care.
Yeah, you
because the
didn't
whole
feel
choir experience was great. It turned out to be
you didn't feel you lost anything.
exactly.
Right.
Yeah, I totally felt a total gain.
Okay.
And there were other guys and girls that would have to do that too. Some of the girls, there weren't many true altos, I think. So some of the sopranos had to like screech it out there.
Right.
And so it was great. It was a great experience. And so that's a good way to appreciate Temperament with little T. I'm a natural
Right.
tenor, but I had to sing bass.
So that's also kind of a good metaphor for the pack.
Exactly. That's
If
exactly
you
what the
think
pack
of the
is.
pack as a chorus,
Exactly.
and they all make a different sound to be
Right.
in harmony
Yes.
with each other,
Right.
it takes away the dominant, submissive.
Right. So when they're playing, you see them flipping roles instantly.
Right.
And when you watch them socially stratify, those flippings could take years.
Okay.
And no one's connected. It's the same flipping.
Oh.
Some of it is really dynamic, and some of it is so slow, looks like leader and dominance and submission.
Oh.
But it's not. It's not. It's like, it's very, like a good example is when they're now doing time-lapse photography with plants,
Yes.
a vine looking for support. It looks like an animal tentacle.
Right.
When they speed it up, it looks just like an animal.
Right.
And you start to understand, wow, what kind of organizing consciousness is that? How the heck is, what's
Right.
going on with that? And so they look very animal-like. What if you speed it up? So it's the same thing. If you were to speed up the social strata, you'd see the flipping and flopping going on as well.
And it would look more like play.
Yeah, you'd see it go back and forth so fast. If it's going fast, then it's fluid.
Right.
But the example I like to give is two kids on a seesaw. You wouldn't say the guy on top is dominating. The object isn't to be dominant and get above the other one.
Right.
The object is to get flow, which is experienced as weightlessness.
Okay.
And you constantly have to flip roles, which is what play is, that quick shifting. But like I say, every social domain is a different speed of that seesaw.
Okay.
So when it's going really fast, we call it play. When the seesaw is going really slow, we call it social structure. It's the
Okay.
same exact dynamic.
Okay.
And the two have been totally overlaid with cognitive processing, which is why they can't make sense of it.
Right.
We have one half of the dog behavior market says there's no such thing as dominance. The other half says, you guys are crazy, there's tons of dominance. And then the play theorists are at odds. What's the point? They don't know what's the point of play. Some say there's a point. Some say there is no. Two equal, credible scientists. There is a point. There isn't a point. But if you look at this other model, temperament, little t, big T, all of a sudden the point becomes very clear.
Okay.
And it's about group synchronization to maximize flow.
Okay.
That's what it's about. Just like a choir.
That's cool.
Yeah. Yep. So you do have structure, but it's not human rational leaders and followers
Right.
or cognitive in play, like let me test you, see how tough I am to you, but it's all in play. You don't have to, we don't get hurt. It's not that.
Okay.
It's all about synchronization on different speeds.
Okay.
Same thing.
And when the
but
chorus
different
gets in sync, you wouldn't say the soprano's the leader or the bassist is the
Exactly.
leader.
speeds. You wouldn't even say the choir director's the leader, because if he doesn't know the flow of the song,
Okay.
then the musicians will rebel.
Right.
Or the audience will go, boo!
Oh, it's the organizing principle that
Yeah, the
makes
flow is the organizing principle.
Oh.
Now, it just so happens that the conductor or the choir director is generally the most informed, best positioned to see the flow.
Right.
What do we guys know about the flow of the song? We don't know. And your bass part is maybe not the rhythm part, and you would never in a million years come up with that. You know, when you look at the components of a song, some of them, bass line, you might never know how to do that without actual specific training. But the choir director, he just happens to know the flow better than anybody else.
Okay.
If he violates a flow tenet, then he'll get fired.
Okay.
Or the audience will boo, or the musicians will get frustrated.
Yeah.
And they'll say, I didn't feel right.
Okay.
So the flow principle is the organizing. We're all hung up on a human psychology, territoriality, survival, breeding privileges, perpetuation of dreams. That's actually human rationales. It's all a story we tell ourselves because it's the only way we can make sense of the structure.
Okay.
But there is another model, the flow dynamic,
Okay.
and that's what I'm trying to articulate.
Cool. I like it.